Yeah, so to introduce, I will just take you everyone through our group. What do we do? This is GHRD, Global HRD group, which looks at sharing, growing, and inspiring together. So this is a group. We proudly say that today we are around 32,500 members there in this group. So this is a registered NGO non-profit organization, which has the pure motive of sharing and transferring the knowledge to all its members, and also to develop the HR network, and also to help opportunities for people around in our own network. So our founder is Mr. Srinivas Gopalam, who works with MedPlus, a very good leader to work with. So basically, this is his thought process, which came up in 2016 August. And then we have been joining hands together from various states and other places. The best part is his humbleness, that we have never felt that he is the founder. He has always empowered us that as if we are the founder. So that's the best skill that he has. And that is how he makes all of us work towards the group and increase the network and all. Very passionate about networking and empowers each and every one. And the best part is he is connected to even the most young or the new members of the group also. So that's the charisma he has. So the group has this vision of to be a knowledge and networking hub by bringing in all the HR professionals under one roof, and thereby to support for their personal and professional growth. To be honest, we live into it, sir, because we have been conducting free workshops and free MDP programs over weekends in various chapters. For that, we do not charge any of the HR professionals. To be honest, in Vizag also, we have been conducting. We try to tie up with some government institutions so that we get the infrastructure. And then our own members, senior members, also try to become the resource person. That is how it is. There are no financial impacts. It is completely voluntary from all the members who get together, both as a resource person or the logistics or networking for the logistics of the place and all that. And that is how we try to do all our MDP programs free of cost. We do not charge for anything. These are our chapters, 25 chapters across India. So we are from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, if you see, and then we are there from Calcutta, Gujarat, Orissa, and Chhattisgarh. All places we are there, and we have now majorly into WhatsApp group. Our website is also under development, and in WhatsApp, I think every chapter has got 2-3 chapters in itself. So that is the kind of membership we have. We are now trying to develop into a very professional website by the help of the engineering students of our college, so that we come up with a good website which can take it to the next level. The group takes it to the next level. So as I said, that we have been organizing free lectures, free meets, free awareness programs, conferences, seminars, free MDP programs, interaction sessions, workshops, and other related meetings, thereby providing an opportunity to the members to update and upgrade their knowledge, skills, competencies, and also providing a sense of direction to the members in their day-to-day operation. So basically, if you see our group chats, then there are younger members, even senior members, who post their doubts if they come day-to-day issues. Some doubts come about PF or gratuity or anything. So there are senior members who also help them out. So if someone needs a manpower contractor, someone needs some kind of a business help in HR, and so this group also helps that. So Srinivas Gopalam sir is the founder, as I told. These are his coordinates to talk about. So today, on the eve of completing the 5th year, and today is the 50th webinar for this group. To be honest, we have been enjoying the old norm where we were meeting physically. And to be very honest, in those meetings, we never had less than 300 members. So that when we physically meet, we have around 300 members every time. So as you know, slowly we got more into this new norm of meeting into webinars and all. So, but the constant support that we have got from everyone, for that we would like to thank you, all the GHRD members, the HR fraternity who are there, all the guest speakers who have been there in our all the meetings and webinars, and speakers of all the we had very good speakers across the country, and sometimes we had international speakers also. So today we also have some academic partners like Geetam University is there, ICFA is there. Then we have Guru Nanak University who are partners with us, and so we always are thankful to those people who from the very beginning have been very supportive to us and have made us to reach this level. So my sincere thanks to all of them, and a special thanks to all of you who have graced this occasion of the 50th webinar. Thank you so much for joining this special day. So now I think we will start with today's agenda, where I have GP Rao sir, who has been instrumental in helping us in organizing this national event and getting all of you together. So we all know there is no need to introduce GP Rao sir to the HR fraternity, but still, as a custom, I will do that. So GP Rao sir, as you know, is the founder of the Good People Relations, and earlier he has been working with Cell, JK, Birlas, and the RIL in India, and he has been in Malaysia also. So he has been very passionate about networking. I can see, and you all can see from the network he has created, and there is no forum in the country which doesn't have him on the board. So we are proud to have him also with us today, sir. Thank you so much. So he is known for moderating such kind of a sessions where we have speakers like you. So that makes the sessions more interesting, more power driven, and more powerful in terms of the audience reach. His belief is that HR will be always at the center stage of driving humanness and resilience. Definitely, sir. We have proved, the HR fraternity has proved in the new norm that we are at the center of the business. So it were we who adopted the first, and we made the business adapt to the new norm first. And we didn't take any time to just come back and work out how this, and we came out to be the best people. From we were always told that HR makes rangoli. Sahilji, if you remember, you had written somewhere. So I think people will now remember that we don't only make rangolis for them, we also arrange oxygen concentrators, hospital beds, medicines, vaccinations. We do a lot more than that. So at the heart, we definitely we have a heart, and we remember that all our employees are not only employees for us, they are family members of the organization. We approved it. So, sir, I would like to hand over the baton to you, Rao sir, to take over the session and moderate it. Thank you so much, and thanks to all the speakers who have joined today and the participants who are there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Soumya, for a wonderful introduction. I first want to congratulate GHRD on completing 5 years. And we are very so lucky that we are joining you when you are celebrating 5 years. No, it will be in the history that and also we are at the 50th webinar. And having 32,500 people and from all parts of the country with global speakers, that's not a joke. Because there are so many, there's a competition in this field. When it came to the WhatsApp, no, so it became easier for creating groups, but then sustaining it for 5 years and doing 50 webinars, that's a great job. So I want to congratulate you first. Now the panel, I have got 2 things to do in the beginning: talk about the subject, talk about the panelists. So I'm asking Soumya which one first. I'll go with you.
Sir, you are the master, sir.
Okay. So let me talk about the panelists. Now let us create some interesting people. So somebody told me that when you write down the name of a panelist, so the audience will immediately go to the LinkedIn, they Google it, they will go to the Twitter, and they will know. So don't tell us all those things. One participant told me. Said, what do you want to know? Something which is not there. Okay. So, but then formality, Siddharthan is the Senior Vice President HR, CHRO, Dalmia Cement, Bharat Limited. I must tell you, otherwise, how will you Google? Okay, that's what I told you about Siddharthan, R. Siddharthan. And he is known, I have known him for many years, since almost 2000. So 20 years. He's not afraid of saying that he doesn't know. And that's very important. And he's very assertive. And when I asked him, I mean, what is your passion? He says, he brought a quote. He said, when people go to work, they should not have to leave their hearts at home. It's not that you have to leave something at home and come. No, please carry. That's what he says. So welcome, Siddharthan. So rest of it is from the social media. So next is Simin Askari. Senior Vice President, Corporate Human Resources and Business Excellence from the Dharampal Satyapal Group. That's a large group. So I had chosen Siddharthan and Simin first. They are from that family-owned, dynamic, progressive, pragmatic, growing businesses. That's how I picked up. So I will talk about a few things. One is this DS Learning Academy. Sahil will be very interested to know. AI and ML enabled learning academy they have set up. And only recently NHRD gave them an award. And you know for what? For excellence in digitalization. So in a family run old, people think it's an old economy company, you saw that award for excellence in digitalization. And she herself, she has worked in different companies. She's known for creating, managing global HR policies. Always innovation in talent management. And if you ask me to describe her, she's a result-oriented strategic thinker. So welcome, Simin. Welcome, Simin. Okay. So you can unmute and say hello, Simin. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, GP.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
kind
you.
of you.
Thank you. Okay. Now a short introduction about Jairam Philkana. See, he's president and global CHRO of Glenmark Pharma, and he's also on the board of Econo Sciences, a biotech company in US. And his strength is global experience. He has worked abroad, worked in multinational companies, and he is a part of building organizations and restructuring. In the process, he has grown, contributed, and he is very learnable, always open to learn. Humility is his strength. And when I asked him, what about partnering with business? He said, no, we are part of the business. What do you mean we're partnering? I am there in the business. There's no question of partnering, he's even outsider. And his passion is helping others, and himself is not afraid to do things that he has not done before. So he's known for experimentation. Welcome, Jairam. Welcome.
Thank you, GPR Garu. Very nice to be part of the panel today.
Yeah. Last but not the least, our tallest HR leader, Sahil. He is a senior associate director with KPMG. I'm just picking up words from his LinkedIn profile. He's a design thinker. He's a storyteller. He's a writer. Believes in Junoon, Jasba, and Josh. People from North India will pick up these words. Junoon, Jasba, and Josh. He calls himself as a curious human being, always inquisitive, always wanted to do something. What is happening in HR? How HR can contribute? What is the expect? Always curious. And he builds employer branding, leading, engaging, high-performing teams. And he spends a lot of time on beyond HR, whether it is music, traveling, trying out different food. And he's a very natural giver. I mean, whether it comes to knowledge sharing or mentoring or blogging or writing articles, he's a very natural giver. So probably he's a mastery in the art of giving. Welcome, Sahil. Welcome.
Thank you so much, GB. It's always wonderful sharing the space with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, audience, for you, now we have chosen a topic. I mean, we discussed with the organizers and chosen a topic, enhancing employee experience for excellence. So in the session, we will go deep into understanding excellence, understanding employees, understanding employee experience, and then we'll find out, then also answer your questions. But then, like I picked up the curiosity from Sahil, I wanted to know, we were talking about employee satisfaction. Somebody came and said, no, it's employee delight. I mean, no, it's employee engagement. People are talking about employee experience. I was just thinking about it. Probably you are telling me that it's not the hard, it's also the soft. It's not just the welfare schemes. It's also about the personal touch. It is the caring. Maybe you are hinting at that. Maybe hinting that. That's the reason you are talking about experience, feelings. No, the real meaning of taking care of people. Maybe I will try to understand from it. The other part, I thought why the organizers might have chosen today, because we have all landed into a situation, there is no switch, there is no off switch, there is only on switch. I mean, can I say that, no, I will not take that call? Can I say that, no, I will not take care of that complaint or that grievance my employee? No, Now, when we're talking about taking care of employees, there is no off switch. We're always on. The relationship between employee is always on. This is one. The second one I saw is, as we're evolving, we are losing out on one thing called personnel manual, HR manual, references and all. They are not working because we'll have to think about new ways of doing, new way of doing. Similarly, what is the agenda of HR? No, it's changing. It's changing. So earlier it was annual, month, quarterly, annual. Somebody told me it could be every day. So the agenda of HR, because taking care of people, is changing. Probably that's the reason we are choosing this topic today. So end product should be excellence. We'll understand from the panelists what is excellence. Second is this employees, and where are they? How do you take care of their engagement? And how do you enhance all the time, enhance? And then, I mean, of course, they will talk about why should we enhance and what is this enhancement? How do we do that? Of course, they'll talk. So this is what I thought introducing the theme. So what we'll do is, we'll also go to the audience. There are about plus 80 people. We'll also get their pulse. I'll start with all with you. Just let's have your initial thoughts, like my thoughts. What is your initial thoughts on the total topic? Well, I'll again say no. I'll start with Siddhartha. You unmute yourself, Siddhartha.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
One is that currently we all talk about the software related things which is on the cloud. So I would say that currently the talents are on the cloud, because now we are working from anywhere concept. Instead of anywhere concept, I would say it is the talent on the cloud. So that is how I look at it, because anywhere you can be there, anywhere you can reach out, and anywhere you can contribute. Because before 2020, before COVID-19 onslaught, this was applicable majorly to the knowledge-based organizations, whereas we are into manufacturing. So this COVID has enabled us to work on the cloud, even for the talents, you can say that. Yes, all the manufacturing processes, yes, we have technologies enabling us and we are able to maintain the social distancing, and the talent have to be there in the plant. But we have got quite a good number of talent which are office-based, not plant-based. So for them, this has enabled, the technology has enabled that we need not be co-located at one place. And now we are all talking about this COVID enabling us, but I would like to recall that during 1973 itself, USA has thought of working from home because of the oil embargo, which made commuting more expensive. So that is the first time in USA they thought of working from home, which was a little bit introduced, but not to a higher level. But now companies like us who are participating in a hybrid model, as I told you, some of them are in the plant, they have to be there. But in the office, we are not into the office. And in reality, this has given a better quality of life for the talents. For example, if you take my own case, I can have lunch with my family, which was not happening earlier. So this makes you to bring you to closer to the family, and it enhances your happiness. See, the other thing is that the reduction in attrition. We are finding that this has, I wouldn't say that COVID has in any way slowed down the industry. Yes, it started with to some extent, but later on, yes, it has not slowed down the industry at all. So in that phase, for example, if I am looking at the technology space, there is a huge demand for people in the technology space, where we keep people in the IT space and the product development, which is relating to the technology. And now I am finding that this is a very recent occurrence to me. Earlier, I used to imagine that engineering means engineering is into the manufacturing only. But I am finding that there is one more new stream has come into engineering in IT space. So when I am looking for talents, it is scarce totally. Whereas at the same time, these talents who are on a high demand and low supply, but the attrition has gone down even in this space, because this co-working, this hybrid model has helped them to balance their life. Then the other thing I would say that, yes, we have all reduced the travel time, And in turn, it has reduced the emission levels for the global level also.
Okay.
That's an indirect advantage we have.
Okay.
And
Right.
the last one thing I would like to point out, earlier, yes, in the meetings, we used to have somebody to take care of the notes, then follow up all those things. But if you look at it today in the context of technology, even the MS Office Teams has got a space for you to jot down what are the things to be done and who is responsible, and we are able to track it through that. And 1 minute itself, we are able to compartmentalize. Let us say one meeting, there are 3 actionables, and let us assume that there are 3 teams to be formed within the participants of, let us say, 9, 10 people. It's able to track it individually.
Okay.
This is an advantage which we were not earlier aware of.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Siddharth. I was just trying to test my audio. Is it better now?
Much better, GP.
Much
Yeah,
better.
this is
Oh,
better. Yeah.
much
Much
better.
better,
Okay.
yeah.
I think. Okay. We are still on dwelling on the main theme. So, what is this theme about? Enhancing employee experience for excellence. So, Siddharth has made a good start. So, I go to Jairam. You want to add something so that the theme is set? Theme is set.
Sure. And I could relate to what you're saying, Siddharth, all very valid points. So I'll actually say something which is may sound a bit silly and on the lighter side, but actually it's also very true. So we've always had, women work from home. And now think if you're a woman and you're an employee, right? You have now double work from home, right? So we have all heard this WFH, and I think for women it is DW. I mean, I think Simin, you can, relate to that, right? And the reason I'm starting with this is one of our learnings when we did some informal surveys with our employees on what has been the experience of this work from home, the men seem to have been very happy. I can go to the fridge, I can get more snacks, I can do this, I can do that. And the women said, actually, it's a little more stressful for us. We don't mind actually coming back to work sooner than. So I think there is a powerful message for us here to reflect as HR practitioners on how do we do some sensitization for our employees. And I don't mean in a controlling way, but sensitization sometimes for the employees' families also, that if the woman employee is working from home, it does not mean now that that woman has 2 more things to do, right? So I think that is one thing that really struck me. I'll pause on this note.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I'll go to Sahil and finally to Simin. Sahil, your value add.
Sure. So obviously, I don't want to repeat what's already been said
Yes.
very beautifully by Siddharthan and Jairam. I think, GP, this moment really requires us to start thinking radically, right? I'm sure a lot of our predecessors and our seniors started off with creating a policy manual to have governance, right? And look at where we've moved over the years to say, HR business partnering, finding a seat on the table. Today, we've really come to a space where and I wrote an article on this saying HR knows nothing but making rangolis, right? And today you reached a stage where for everything, HR is taking center stage, right? How are you looking at lives of people? How are you looking at work-life balance of people? How are you looking at productivity of people? It's no longer a conversation where a business leader is going to say, you know what, tuck, do this, come back to me with an update. It is far more than that to say people who can value add in what I call as the neo-normal, because no longer can you go back to your textbooks that taught you what you could do pre-COVID, and post-COVID, people are still writing. You haven't got the first textbook or the practitioner's workbook or the toolkit that has come out to say in post-COVID, these are your fundas. So I'm saying between what McKinsey termed as the new normal, you pick up the old, you pick up the new, you pick up the experience of your seniors and the agility of what is the new definition of excellence and make the difference in that beautiful sweet spot. Back to you, GP.
Wonderful. Neo normal. And blending of it. Wonderful. Simin, you are value add on defining the theme.
Thank you, GP. And thank you for setting the context. I think everybody here, Siddharth and Jairam and Sahil, have actually articulated well on the theme. I would say 2 bits here are that, when we talk about employee experience, we're talking about the journey that an employee takes before, during, and after he comes into the organization. So it's a complete, I would say, 360 sort of a experience that we are trying to provide to an employee, just before he joins in and even after he leaves us. Why is it important? It's important because it actually has an effect on everything around, the productivity and ultimately the revenues in the organization. I always feel that, businesses understand, and any CEO understands the language of money. And for an HR person to be really effective, that is where we need to sort of put in our efforts. So if we are working towards enhancing an employee experience and so that we bring about some excellence, what is it ultimately resulting in? How are we ultimately hitting the top line, bottom line in an organization, and how are we contributing? The COVID pandemic definitely has taught us many things. And as Siddharthan said, for us also, we are a sales and manufacturing centric organization. Very difficult for us to operate from home. Yet, obviously, the pandemic, there was no recourse. We managed beautifully, and we've actually come out stronger on the other side. I mean, if we call it the other side as of now, we're still grappling with a lot of challenges. But there was a lot that HR wanted to do prior to the pandemic, which was actually the pandemic actually acted as a catalyst for a lot of things, including digitization and HR. So what you were talking about in terms of the Digital Academy, it was in the offing for a long time. We actually, it caught up speed during this time. We managed to have productivity. We managed to, retain our employees. We managed to look after the well-being, mental as well as physical well-being of our employees, even while they were not in premises. So this is all I feel would ultimately translate into employee experience. And this is where we as an organization would become a preferred choice of as an employer. So this is the ultimate aim for any HR professional, providing an experience so that you ultimately become the employer of choice, so that ultimately your businesses are second to none and are ultimately meeting the aim that they always have, as to make money, right? So that's just my start.
No, it's a great thing. No, I must compliment you. You never thought of this digitalized AI, machine learning enabled academy just because the pandemic has happened. You were thinking about it, the proactive thinking.
So we were,
yes,
of course.
Similarly, when Sahil asked about that Rangoli, he's not actually to ridicule person. He wants to ignite you. So they want to continue with that Rangoli, bring Rangolis to the lives, bring Rangolis to the organization, meaning of Rangoli, so that is what he wanted to ignite that. Nothing. Yes, the pandemic has brought about speed, pandemic has brought about flexibility, adaptability, all those things has brought. What we will do is, with your permission, I want to ask the audience, do they have any specific expectation? We know the organizer's expectation. I want to know from the audience. Soumya, you want to ask the audience, do they have any specific expectation, so that the next 1 hour will spend time with like that? Yeah, you can ask them.
Yeah, either they can put it in the chat box. I can also put up a poll.
Okay, you can put a poll, no? They like
I'm
it.
just putting a poll, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. The poll is, what is your expectation from the session? You can write more than one answer, but write short answers. Okay. So how will you collate this?
I'll try to get it, sir.
Okay, okay. So this is my curiosity, what I picked up from Sahil. They'll write, but then how do I collate?
Soumya, is this a word cloud that you're doing, or is this a choice in terms of multiple answers? It seems to be as percentages.
Because they'll choose one or two, nothing will come.
Correct.
Let us be see. Anyway, he might be having something in his mind.
I'm sure.
So that was my first reaction also, because they're thinking about one or two, that's all. Okay. Soumya, just check whether you are able to get that stuff somewhere.
I'm just trying, yeah.
Otherwise, I will go to the chat
GP,
board.
maybe we can have people put it on the chat.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we can do that.
You just check, because some 26 people have written, are you getting that stuff somewhere? If you're not getting, so we'll go to the chat box. No problem. Okay. I'll give an, okay. Right. Friends, we have not understood the technology. So we'll see, we'll try out something differently. Just write down in the chat box your expectation. So we read that, no problem. Somebody said it's all full of productivity talks only during WSNet, but engagement is less. Okay. So only talk about productivity, we don't talk about engagement. So let us stop. Okay. How do you boost engagement levels? That was one expectation. Any other expectation? Dear audience, dear friends, please put your expectation in the chat box. We'll try to address those. Some people wanted to know about best practices. Ravi Kumar, yeah, very good. Appreciate. Session on retention strategies. Okay, probably he's trying to hint that the experience is better. So excellence should cover retention. Somebody probably is trying to know, wanted to know. Okay, Harsha. Okay. New practices, business or HR have been adopted. Okay, post March 20. Okay, yes, cut off. Best proven. Most people are asking for best practices. Okay, very nice. Oh, they want to know about manufacturing sector. Very nice. Impact of environment. Okay, right. Priyanka. Learning and development strategies. Okay, last 10 seconds. Okay, so because there is something. Is HR a facilitator, a business partner? You see yourself. Employees' feelings, emotional attachment. HR connect to employee. Best digital perspectives. Panel to talk about employee engagement while work from home. Rajan. Increase of morale, retention strategies. Okay, I think we'll stop here, but you keep continuing. So we'll go there. First, let us define excellence. I think I'll go to Sahil. Maybe others can add. Let's first define excellence. What is excellence?
I think GP, very relevant point, right? Because it is a very contextual way of looking at it. All of us have read about excellence. You've read about the theories, all of that, right? I don't want to make this an academic conversation, but excellence is very contextual. The tenets of excellence may remain the same, but as situations evolve, as people evolve, as the ecosystem evolves, the definition of excellence will definitely undergo a change. If you're in a small organization with aspirations that are about survival through the pandemic, excellence is very different. If you're in a multinational organization that is across countries and wants to say, the pandemic has hit us, there is a great opportunity to diversify and build a new business which will thrive in the post-pandemic era, excellence will take a very different dimension. Excellence will take a very different definition. And therefore, if you have to break this down to the power of one or at an individual level, I think if every one of us, irrespective of the context, irrespective of the situation, can, number one, apply ourselves. I think application is very important. Many times we go back to saying, oh, we know this, one size fits all. And I think the pandemic being a leveler in a big way on one end, be it daily wage workers or even be the Ambanis of the world, has been a great leveler. But having said that, 24 hours is available to even Mr. Ambani, and 24 hours is available to even the daily wage worker. But what Mr. Ambani earns in 1 minute versus what a daily wage worker earns in 1 minute is where the gray of what I call the gray of excellence really lies. And therefore, if each one of us can apply ourselves in the moment, number one. Number two, be the best version of ourselves, which means we very categorically accept, and I know you spoke about Siddharthan earlier on to say he is someone who believes that he doesn't know it all. And I think that is great humility, because with so many years of experience working across geographies and various companies, if you have a mindset that says, I don't know it all, you bring in excellence because you allow for learning. And the third point I very quickly want to leave everyone with before I hand it back to you and the rest of my panelists chime in is not creating fear of failure. Because the moment you're in an ecosystem where you punish failure, excellence will never thrive, because people will be scared of getting into that space, getting into the unknown, dirtying their hands and trying things out. Back to you, GP.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. First thing he says, it is contextual. See, suppose you've fallen down, getting up, then getting stable, then growing. So it's all contextual, size, the situation, circumstances, that's one. The third, simple words he said, does it apply to me also? So that is the state of excellence. So it should. The second is best version. I mean, does it give me the opportunity, scope to be the best of me? So self-actualization, or at least the best version. Every time I improving myself. And the last one, he said, the fear of failure has gone. I mean, that means you can experiment, you can take risks, you can try out, you can be creative, all that. So anyone wants to add something to this, Jairam, Simin, Siddharthan, to this list or to this understanding? What is excellence?
Excellence is a continuous process.
Continuous process. Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
Nothing to add. It was very nice to listen.
Okay, very nice. Anyone? Simin, you want to add something?
Yeah, GP, I think what Siddharthan just said, excellence is a continuous process. Yes, and for me, I think from an employee context, if an employee is excited about his job, willing to give more than 100%, takes ownership of what they do, and is not afraid of failing, and is not afraid of making mistakes, that I feel is his bit of contributing towards that excellence bit here.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. So from me, I'll not know what to add. I will say it should be both for organization and individual. When you say excellence, it should be for both. In the organizational parameters, it is productivity, it is growth, it is profit, it is employer branding, awards. That's for an individual. For me, is scope for my actualization. I am personality development, my professional development. I get opportunities to grow. My family is happy. I am so this is both grow, but as you said, it's a continuous thing. It is not a destination, it's a journey, it continues. We will then go to employees. Siddharth, so you in your initial said they are everywhere. So when we say employees, so whom are you talking? So suppose in front of me there's nobody. So who is that employee? Where is he? So can you just throw some light on this when you say employees?
Yeah, see what happens that, as you rightly said earlier, we were in front of the employees or they were in front of us. Today, when it has changed, so what we were looking at that, how do we get things done? Because that is what the managers are there. And even though the circumstances have changed in the last 1.5 years or so, but we cannot let the productivity go down. That's one example, because an organization exists based on that, foundation and fundamentals.
Okay.
Then when we looked into that, how can we enhance it? Because when we are not meeting each other on day-to-day basis, and we are discussing everything through a call, whether it's a Zoom, team, whatever it is, where are we dropping the balls? I will take one very, very small example. When we look
Siddharth, I'm pausing you. I'll come to you that. at this stage, when I say employee, is it the employees at the workplace? Is it the employees working somewhere, or are they contractual one, gig one, suppliers? Who? What? When I was saying employees, who are those people? What is the coverage according to
See,
you?
as you rightly said, that the employees for us in a cement organization, it is starting from 50% or close to 45% of the employees are contracted.
Contractual employees.
That's a huge number. Out of 11,000 employees, they may be forming about 45 to 50%. Then comes the workers and the staff, which are there. Then comes the executive, which is a very small number. Out of that 11,000, it may be 3,300 is the executives. That is what we do. So when we are following the hybrid model, naturally the manufacturing processes are on and it goes on. We
Okay.
know where it stopped. But we have taken care of the precautions relating to the COVID.
Okay.
But the manufacturing goes on. So there is no work from anywhere concept.
Okay.
Involved.
Okay. I'll ask the other panelists also, when we are talking about this employee experience, are you talking about employees on our role, employees on the vendor's role, or are you limiting ourselves to, okay, we are responsible for this? What is your thought process, Sahil, Jairam, Simin, when you say employees?
I would say it includes all.
All. Okay.
In terms of safety, quality, and being treated with respect and
Okay.
dignity, and certain basic things where you cannot differentiate. For
Yeah.
example, if it's a factory and there is food provided, it cannot be different. In the sense it can be,
Okay.
but point is that everybody needs to feel like they're being treated equally.
Okay.
At the same time, I'll also say some segmentation is important.
Okay.
Because not everything is important equally to all categories. By, for example, generation, if I'm just starting my career, what is important for me is different from, let's say, I have 5 more years to go. So
Okay.
that is one way of segmenting.
Okay.
The other way of segmenting is if I'm a field employee, what I would expect is different from, let's say, I'm office based. So
Okay.
I don't want
Again,
it to paint everybody with the same brush, but certain things.
But
universal.
there is some connect. He is coming to our premises. Maybe he's on someone else's role, so I'll have to take some connection. So I will still be with you only, Jairam, on then when you say experience, you said it can be different for different people. But suppose top 2-3 things. When you say experience, we're talking about these things. What do you mean employee experience?
Sure. Actually, first of all, my compliments to whoever came with this topic of employee experience, because it is something very important, but somehow maybe not too much of management literature on this, as much as you will find on some other topics. So I'll try to share it at maybe 4 levels.
Mm-hmm.
So level 1 is an employee needs to feel good about actually being associated. In the pre-joining phase, I think Simin captured it very beautifully. Pre, during, post. And what do we experience? Somebody calls us for an interview, we fly in the good old days, or and then we send a ticket for reimbursement. How quickly has it been reimbursed? Or do I need to follow up 10 times? That shows actually a lot about the culture. Right? Just one manifestation of that. Likewise, somebody comes on board, and how does the person feel? Does she feel welcome? Does she feel like organization, the team, colleagues are ready for the person to come on board? And likewise, a person retires or person looks for something better somewhere else, and does the person feel that I'm still being treated in a good way, right, in terms of my exit, full and final, and whatever. So that is level 1, right? Basic courtesy, basic dignity, and certain things. And then you not only are buying my capability, experience, but you're also not buying, but you're also getting my mind and heart.
Okay.
Right? That's level 1. Then level 2, I learned this from one of my old bosses, earlier bosses. 3 clarities, he said, are very, very important.
Mhm.
Clarity of goals, right? If I'm a factory employee, do I have clarity on what is very important for this factory? Or likewise, different levels, it can be different. At a particular level, it could be financials, targeted revenue, EBITDA, something like that. At a different level, it could be something else. goals. Then clarity of roles and responsibilities. What am I actually supposed to deliver? Right? So the job description, KRAs, that kind of stuff. Then clarity of rewards and consequences. When is it that I can expect something to occur? If it is variable pay or something else. What is it that I'm supposed to be good at, to be considered as quote unquote talent, competencies and stuff. So that's a level 2. Level 3, employee experience, is okay, I'm being treated well. I know what I have to do. I know what I can expect if that thing. Now, do I feel like I'm part of something larger, something which is a larger purpose in life? I think CSR is a very, very important thing. I mean, if our employees feel like there is a focus area for the organization, basis the kind of business operation that we are in, and if I'm encouraged by the company to go out and do something, I may be an operator in the workplace, but I can actually be a leader in that, CSR activity. So I'll feel good about it, right? So I think, the third level is of employee experience is giving them an opportunity to be part of something bigger, something which goes beyond my job, so that my identity is not just my business card, but something more than that. And I think the fourth one, probably a little more topical, this work from home. It's not an easy one, honestly. I think it requires a lot of sensitization in us in HR on how work hours have been blurred, work days have been blurred. There are, I mean, can you imagine somebody is in a house? I live in Bombay, right? Size of the home is not big. Somebody in the family is down with COVID, supposed to be isolated, or three of us competing for the same work, Wi-Fi connection, right? I think I don't know how to describe it, but I think this pandemic specificity of employee experience, some of the medical bills, being processed on time, and all these, third party, they have the knack of coming with 10 questions, which not easy to answer. So can we help our employees, expedite some of these things, sensitize ourselves, sensitize our managers on respecting those work hours? Can, for example, do we encourage employees, do we make them feel confident that they can block between 12 and 2 half an hour or 45 minutes for them to have lunch without having to eat lunch by switching off the video? Do they feel comfortable enough? I think I can go on, but I think that's a very, very important one at this point of time. Those are few things for consideration.
No, very wonderfully said. You have put step by step, made us understood, like HR is evolving, So the employee experience wonderfully explained, and the last bit, that sensitization, that extra, that need of the hour, that I am available for you. That was very good. It's a great finish. I'll come to Simin to understand how part of it, like what Jairam has said. If you can give us some examples of how part of it, with some example. I'll go with Sahil on this experience thing only. When you say employee experience, what is the top thing that occurs to your mind? It's your mind, Sahil.
Sure. So JP, while Simi comes in, very quickly, I just wanted to add 30 seconds. I think Jairam put it so beautifully as a cascading waterfall effect. But if I have to overarch the waterfall, I would essentially say, and I've been doing a lot of research in this space to say, why is it that corporate India can't mirror society? And let me break this down. What do I mean by that? Today, if I have to simply unlock my phone, right? How do I unlock my phone? There are multiple ways. I can do it through a simple code. I can do it through a pattern. But more importantly, I can do it through my retina, facial recognition. Why is it that for my office laptop, I need to put a password with special characters, with putting caps lock, with putting alphanumeric, and keep changing it every whatever frequency, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Now, that is just one very simple, basic example from society and from corporate India. If we have to sit back and pick up every single point that Jairam said and make tech a mindset, think about employee experience. Think about Uberization of talent. Think about Uberization of roles. Think about the gig workforce in an intrapreneurship setup within the organization. Think of sharing of resources from fungibility on a heat map project. There is phenomenal amount of opportunity available. And we get stuck in managing and massaging egos. I'm not being cynical here, guys, but what I'm trying to say is there is just so much of opportunity on the talent experience mindset, GP. And therefore, I wanted to quickly come in and share this perspective, because if you just have it this way to say, earn your own salary. I know Siddharthan spoke about saying variable pay and how much more. And of course, Jairam brought in the very beautiful angle of saying rewards and consequences. Think of it this way, that you have a skill, there is a problem. Every organization has a problem, and they are solving either for their problems or they are solving for problems of the world or their clients. You bring the skill, you solve the problem. This is what your stack rate is. And then, and maybe we're looking into the future, but then you have a fixed component in your CTC that is maintenance, hygiene. It's like unlocking your mobile phone, unlocking your office laptop, hygiene maintained. Then what we typically call as variable earning potential. You don't need to start a business to earn crore of rupees. In your job, you can, because you're solving problems of the world. And that talent experience will boil down, GP, to the power of one. Because what Sahil would have is a need that he wants to solve, going back to Jairam's point on purpose, will be very different from Simin, will be very different from Siddharthan, will be very different from what GP wants to do.
Well said. Well said. Great value add. Simin, before I go to audience, because they say there are some challenges, they're also writing down the questions in the Q&A box. At this stage, Simin, I'll ask you the how part of experience. Whichever, you can pick up one or two things and tell us how it is delivered, how it is given, how it is. So, Simin.
Okay, so GP, for me, an employee experience is a sum of many things. It is not just, talking about satisfaction levels, about happiness levels, about engagement levels. It's a sum of a lot of interactions that an employee has, as I said before, during and after he is in the organization. So let's just talk about while an employee is in an organization, what is it that we as an HR folks can do to help improve that experience, to help improve the engagement level of an employee, so that we ultimately achieve that so-called excellence that we are talking about here. So for me, there are several things that we should be doing, and looking at it holistically, starting from communication. How are we communicating? What are the channels we are using? Is it a constant feedback that we are giving to people? Are we empowering and enabling the managers to be able to provide those kind of feedbacks, and looking at employee feedback also, like a 360-degree, not just a one-way sort of a thing. How are we talking about an employee's career path or a career goals? What are we doing to take care of that? Because ultimately, for an employee to be able to give a productive output to an organization, you should also feel that there is something that the organization is investing in them, and it's not just a one-way thing that you give a salary and that's why you should be giving some sort of a output. So are we investing in our people? What is it that we are doing? And what you talked about, the DS Learning Academy, is just one way of us investing into our people. Third thing, of course, is the technologies that we are using. Obviously, COVID has taught us a lot. Are we enabling people to be productive in any scenario, whether they are sitting at home, in the factories, in the workspace, at the in the markets? I'll give you another very small example that I keep quoting whenever I'm in such seminars, because I feel quite proud of the fact that we've used this software, which is again AI enabled. This is for our sales force, and this is based on the principle of nudge. So each of the employee, the salesman, will keep getting nudges specific to the things that would motivate them. For example, I may be motivated by money, and the nudge I get in the morning would be, oh, you've sold this much. If you sell this much more, this is what incentives you're going to get. If I am motivated by a position or a reward being on top of the leaderboard, my nudge would be, you're this far away from being on the top. So it's specific to different people. And believe me, the kind of productivity it has brought in, and this is all enabled by technology ultimately. Technology came to the rescue when we were, being a sales and manufacturing driven organization, forced to sit at home and ensure productivity, ensure continuity of business. So, having these virtual meetings, I mean, I don't know how many of you would sort of resonate with this, but in our organization, the thought of a virtual interview, I'm sorry, people would say, "वो बात ही नहीं आती," because जब तक सामने नहीं कोई बैठेगा, how are we going to do it? Today, everything is on a virtual platform. So, these are the things I think would help in enhancing that employee experience as a holistic approach. Right?
Very wonderful. Two things I saw that. One is the holistic approach. I mean, different facets, different aspects of his needs. The other one is that flexibility. So I like that a bit, no, because everything will not motivate everybody. So I was talking to a friend working in a factory. He was talking about the workers. He said there are three kinds of workers. I'm using some Hindi words. One category will be motivated by theli. Theli means purse, bag, purse, money. That's called theli. So wallet. Another category is they will be motivated by thali. That means give them a cup of tea, take them for a lunch, sit them with them and all. But the third category, which we have not taken cognizance of this, they'll be motivated by tali. You clap for them, he'll get motivated. He's not get motivated with his 100 rupees. So that bariki cheese, he could understand in your company, in a different setup you are talking about. He wants to be, he doesn't want to copy ape somebody. He wants to be somebody. That's what I picked up style. So he wants to contribute. What Jairam was saying, he wants to do some ISR, individual social responsibility. Can we help him to do that? What then Siddharthan said, he wants to be creative, he wants to experiment, he wants to. So you at different levels from that motivation. Wonderful. What we'll do is we'll take a pause from our panel discussion. Let me just have some conversation with the audience. Audience, you are a wonderful audience. You're writing a lot of things in the chat box and the Q&A. A little thing, take your questions to the Q&A box, okay? Take the question box. We'll answer all your questions. Now let us keep the chat box for one more thing. While we want to do this employee experience, many of my clients, because I'm a consultant, I'm saying, but sir, there are a lot of challenges. It's not that easy. Earlier days, it was easy doing things, lots of challenges. I want to know what is the challenge? Because instead of preempting the discussion, why don't you say, all this is clear, what Jairam, Sid and Sahil and Simya clearly told you what is to be done. But then some people are saying, sir, it's not possible to do. So what is the challenge? Is it capability? Is it environment? Is it something else? So let us understand from the audience, what is the challenge you are facing in implementing these ideas, okay? Let's understand from the audience. If you have a Q&A, keep it in the Q&A box. If you have a challenge, please write down the chat box. Only challenges. Many people told me we have a challenge. Please write down your challenges in the chat box. I hope yeah, okay, he's using, okay, he has made it simpler. Soumya has identified as few challenges. Pandemic is a challenge. It's very, pandemic time, to face pandemic. Work from anywhere is a challenge. This is how do I do the employee experience where people, whether in a coffee shop or he's working from home, he's in a shared service, or he's in Goa and talking to me. So that could be one. Maybe the digitalization, no, because I am very comfortable in doing it in person things, in the digitalization. Another thing is people are coming with new expectations. I didn't know they have different kinds of expectations. Then they are saying this millennials, their aspirations, their demands, so they are all different. So these are all challenges or opportunity, but these. Let's see which one are they on the top. Soumya, it's a very good improvisation here. This poll, you have given them some hints. Maybe there are some more, but you have captured all important ones. Pandemic, work from anywhere, digitalization, new expectations. I mean, that means we are not used to it, those expectations. Millennials, dealing with them. Wonderful. 26 people. Can I get some more people? Global HRD, you are all, I'm told you're all very active, agile people. So can we have at least 50% participation? When I was doing my schooling, 33% were the pass mark. So when we go home, we say 33 pass ho gaya, pass ho gaya. Then they said, no, 50% is minimum, otherwise you cannot come in. So now people are talking about, we were doing a employee feedback survey. We asked a technology partner, I don't know from where he got, sir, anything less than 7.5 is not done. He's talking about 75%. Anyway, I'm taking that average 50%. Now I'm my village thing how to cross. In another 1 minute, second, I'll cross the 33. 33 is pass mark, no? 34% have voted. So pass mark ho gaya. Now 50%. So let's see. 50% people should at least participate so that we can say, I mean, half of them have participated. Otherwise, we'll not get the idea. Oh, Soumya is writing, dear all. Okay, if Soumya writes, they'll do it. Please share your opinion in the poll. Please share your opinion in the poll. Simple poll, you have to click one. Attendees are now being questions. Okay. We'll stop at the third minute, Soumya, because initially, I think some of the panelists have said the digitalization, the pandemic has taught us something new, that is speed, agility. It's not, you may be doing a good job, but then it has to be done on time. Okay, we'll stop here. So what is the, are you able to see, panelists, the results?
Yes.
You are able to see new expectation is coming as the top. I mean, so you don't have a manual or something. So while doing it, the expectations are new, strange. You are not used to it. That's one. And the pandemic is throwing some challenges. Millennial digitalization are the smaller ones. Okay, we'll stop here. This one, we'll close this. Wonderful. So that as we grow, we'll do that. What we will now do is we'll pick up this challenge when you have to do different things which you have not done in the past. So how do we approach? Let's start with Sahil.
So JP, I think so you touched upon percentage, right, of your school, and then percentage being changing. And of course, many of us know how percentile also works. I'm going to bring a little bit of mathematics to this conversation, because if you look at the way Soumya has very nicely given a multiple choice, the answer is in the question itself, because your percentages don't total 100%. People have chosen multiple options, and therefore, what would end up happening is, while some of the options are an overlap with the others, you see clustering happening.
Yes.
Now, if I had to dissect this data, what one would typically do is you would look at clustering to say, where do you find your Venn diagram? And in the process of finding the Venn diagram, you would always move from the known to the unknown.
Yes.
Because that gives any individual a lot of confidence. Because when you venture into the unknown, typically you would say, oh my God, new expectation. This is new, that is new. I don't know how to do it. I feel lost. Because I can tell you with empirical data that a lot of people who were rock stars haven't done well in the pandemic, because their quotient on being agile, on being able to change, has been very low. And there have been some people who were just the average Joe. And those people, we have realized, have suddenly out of nowhere become rock stars in the last 1 year.
Okay.
And that has simply happened because they have risen to the situation.
Okay.
And I think as human resource professionals being entrenched into our businesses, it is for us to identify these kind of people. It is for us to go back and tell the people who've been rock stars for all these years, here is maybe a person who will reverse mentor you. even though he may be 20 years younger to you. Here is someone else who has been so brilliant, who needs help. And the same average Joe who you had discounted today is trying to get, like Simin mentioned, responding to my AI technology, responding to my nudges, responding to my triggers, and leading the leaderboard. You can sit way back on the leaderboard and feel very bad about it, or you can pick up the phone and say, I want to learn something from you. What are you doing? And therefore, if the tagline is hashtag we are in this together, we all will collectively win.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So this brings, I am trying to jargonize it. There is something called ambiguity. We didn't know the meaning, or we are not used to it. So the best way to deal with this, be agile and be adaptable. So you will do that. Now, I'll go to Jairam, Siddharth, and Sim in any order. Would you like to share one example of doing something which we had never earlier did it? Anything? Jairam, Siddharth, Sim, anybody? I think Jairam.
In the pandemic context?
Yeah. No, anything you were not doing earlier, you never did, but now you are doing very often an employee experience.
So, we are hiring people basis Zoom call interviews. It's an amazing experience and a very scary experience too, because there is only so much you can see in a person in a Zoom call. But you also can't keep it, you can't postpone it beyond a point of time.
Okay.
And then, so I think it's a very interesting challenge for us as HR function. How do we do this on time to meet the business need, but not miss anything in terms of the rigor of the process? And so I think, I'm learning a few things in terms of, how do you balance both, depending more on reference checks than, historically what we did, to invest more time in the referee checking process, for example. But I'd also love to hear from other panelists.
No, good one. No, good one, Jairam. I'm building on this. I was doing a brainstorming session with some academicians. Said, can you come out with some new competencies? One of the competencies said dilemma management or balancing. They said, that's a great skill now.
Yeah.
How do you balance, integrate? Wonderful. I think we'll go to Sid and Simin. You want to share one experience of doing something different to meet a new expectation?
I won't call it as something different, but something which has actually happened, and I think for the better, is that we've become very punctual. Yes. Meetings start on time, end on time. There are no unnecessary, calls being made. Everybody comes online the minute. So virtual platforms have actually helped that way.
Wonderful.
We've become more disciplined.
Okay.
I think from an Indian context, that is a big change. A lot of us.
Opportunity. No,
Yes.
plus. Siddharth, you want to add something?
In our case, we have sharpened quite a lot of processes.
Uh-huh.
Because today we are not together in a conference room, wherein when we are sitting away from each other, then there are certain processes which are overlapping, or there was something falling in between the stools, let us say,
Okay.
which earlier we were not cognizant of.
Okay.
Probably we are together, so somebody picks it up and does it. In today's context, yes, we have sharpened the process. Even if I have to give a small example, we have almost revisited every job description.
Wonderful. That's good. Okay, what we'll do is, looking at the watch, are you able to see the Q&A box, the panelists?
Yeah.
Okay. So first two questions, you leave those. Those are all welcome, what time the webinar starts. The third one is expecting the session on retention strategies. So I think retention is an excellence, no? That's the end product. So are you doing something in the employee experience bit which adds to the retention bit? Anyone wants to answer this?
GP, maybe before we get to that, if I can just take 30 seconds to share my personal experience on what has been.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in the last, and since the pandemic started, personally for me, one thing that has been very different, and being the youngest on this panel, let me share that. I think managing and dealing with grief. I have never seen so many deaths that have happened. And obviously wave 1 came in And then when wave 2 came in, numbers became names of people who we knew, be it in our organizations, be it in the HR fraternity, be it close friends, extended family, so on and so forth. And in my growing up years, of course, I saw very few, even till now, I've seen very few deaths. But the standard line is, you know what, heartfelt condolences in your bewilderment, please be strong, all of those things, right? But those are lip service. Everyone's heard it, we all done it. But I think so in the last 12 months, one thing that I have personally learned is how do you be with people in their grief? And that has been a learning which has been very close back home, because processing pain isn't easy at all.
It is
So
just
while
not the
Jairam
sympathy,
and-
empathy, Sahil.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it is beyond. It is not
Way beyond.
sympathy, empathy. It is beyond. Reaching out. That sensitization, be with them, giving the feeling. Oh, that's wonderful.
So managing and dealing with grief. Sorry,
Good
go
add.
back to the Q&A.
Good value add, Sahil, the good thing. And Jairam, I'll stay with you.
So one
Anything?
quick comment on this retention
Retention
thing.
strategy, yeah.
Sure. So a lot of people have been used to working from their hometowns, especially people who are single or people who had aged parents to look after in their hometowns. And the thing is, it's been working beautifully. Nobody can really say that something is not working well. So one of the challenges we have, and I think it will become more acute in the next 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, is a very talented person with a hot skill, not easy to replace, saying, you know what, I don't want to come back to Bombay and work. I'm happy to work from Raipur, and please let me work, right? And our fear will be, if I say yes, how do I say no to someone else? And if I say no, will I lose this person? I think this is a big one. Personally, we have become more open for people to be based outside Mumbai, for the jobs where traditionally we would have never been open for a person to be somewhere else.
Wonderful, wonderful. Somebody told me the pandemic brought an opportunity that people would like to stay in an organization for reasons beyond money, promotion, increment. They have tested you. I mean, people said, sir, this the kind of care they took care of me. How can I leave this organization? That also happened.
Yeah, and I would like to just add a twist to this. So this is from the employee side. Now we have shareholders, we have management. So I also have colleagues, saying, and there is a news item yesterday that Google announced pay cuts for people who want to work from, somewhere else. I think that's also a reality. That's also something which our function needs to figure out how to handle, because salary level in Bombay or Delhi is high compared to salary level in Meerut or Salem or wherever else, because cost of living is different. But try explaining that. So I think this pandemic is really giving us some really interesting things to solve.
Yeah, right. Okay. Siddharth, I'll come to this question on this work-life balance. You got factories, the manufacturing, they stay in colonies, a lot of things, how do you manage this work-life integration? I'll not call it balancing. How do you do that? Siddharth.
See, for the integration purpose, what we have done is that is the one thing which is missing from work from anywhere, you can say, the physical integration. Or being close to somebody, naturally there is a different level of warmth, understanding happening, which doesn't happen today. To mitigate that, what we are doing is that from time to time, we have temporary co-location events we conduct.
Okay.
So that helps us for people to come together from time to time, so that, yes, we cannot mitigate the, let us say, coffee machine conversations. Yes, it is no more there. But this co-locating events really bring us for a certain purposes to be met. Let us say there is a strategic session, we have done that for that, and naturally we didn't do calls through this process.
Simin, the question from Dr. Venugopal Rao is, what does the CEO expect from HR? I think we'll limit it to this area, this employee experience area, Simin.
Okay. I'll go back to the original statement that I made. CEO wants to make money at the end of the day. So HR needs to contribute. whichever way they can, right? When you talk about employee experience, ensure productivity, ensure retention of those employees, ensure people are giving more than their 100%. That is what is expected from us. Now, how do we do that? As I mentioned earlier, again, this is all a part of the overall journey that an employee takes with us. Why would they want to ultimately stick around and contribute? Is there any particular reason they could find another job somewhere else? So you need to make it attractive enough for them to be, sticking with you. Incidentally, GP, we are a 92-year-old organization, and only about last week we celebrate, like this week we are celebrating our 92nd year of existence.
92nd.
Yes, and we had this award function where we had several employees, I would say about 80, 85 employees, and I'm talking about executive levels and not just workers, who have been with us for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is the kind of loyalty that is there with the organization. So there is obviously something that we would be doing to keep those people with us. Of course, retaining younger generation is a hell of a difficult task, and it is there for everybody. But making sure that, those aspirations of having some sort of career growth mapped, the paths mapped, investments in their careers, investments in their learning happening in the organization. Besides, of course, the money and whatever that was the benefits. That is what is expected.
Okay. So I am just adding up.
Simon, you've been speaking a lot about money. There seems to be someone very inspired by you, and they put a lot of money floating around on the Q&A by Shashi Kamath. I don't know, there's some transfer happened. Shashi, you may want to delete.
Can I add one sentence? This is CEO's expectation nowadays from HR is co-creation of the strategy with him. That is one expectation which has settled down, I would say. It's not a new one, but it has settled down.
So I asked one HR, I don't want to name him. So the expectations of the CEO, he says, my expectation is you must tell me regularly, what do employee expect of me? You be my sounding board. That is my expectation, he says. What do people expect of me? You please tell me. That is my. Anyway, I'll go to Srinivas Rao Vadlamani. What are the future trends? Sahil, one or two trends.
Future trends?
Yeah.
I think I spoke about it earlier. I'll maybe just re-emphasize. One very clearly is, I put it on the chat as well, let people be. And Jairam also, added to that to say, mindsets of individuals, of corporates will change to let people be, because if people say we want to leave, the cost is much higher. So going back to Simon's point to say, will businesses and CEOs and leadership teams understand this fact that you don't need a person to sit below your nose to get work done? People could be anywhere in the world. And as long as output is happening and results are happening, connectivity is far more improved than what it was earlier. It doesn't matter where the person is. Number two, I think GP, which will play a very, very significant role, which unfortunately we haven't touched upon so far in the discussion, is the whole concept of trust. And I think that is going to be the game changer. Because with people who had desktops in their office, we had to give employees laptops, to GDPR, to data confidentiality, to secrecy norms. I think this whole concept of trust and various organizations, look at banking, right? What kind of confidentiality? Massive, right? Today, trust is going to take center stage, and that will start differentiating and manifesting concerns, not just for employees, not just for CXOs, but even for HR in a significant way. And we need to understand, will trust, will integrity remain a black or white concept, or will we deal with 50 shades of gray?
Okay. Keeping at the paucity of time, so one last liner from each one of you. This is mainly for our young student members, young HR executives who want to learn, open. One advice from you on enhancing employee experience. Anything, like it could be humility, it could be openness, it could be talk to people and do whatever. One advice. Well, since we started with Siddharth, we'll go with Siddharth.
Since Sahil touched about the data security and trust, I would say trust is more important. And with the technology, we need not get into the perimeter-based security. We can always get into transaction-based security, which will enhance the trust among the talents. Because the minute I say that there is a data security, what do I mean? I don't trust you. When I say that I don't trust you, I will get onto your laptop, what you are doing. That is what I am saying, calling it as a perimeter-based security. Instead of that, technology enables you to get onto transaction-based security with which we should get.
Okay, wonderful. Jairam?
Sure. So specifically to the relatively early in the career folks, please be as open as you could be in terms of understanding what is being expected from us and how some of it will mean we have to look at things in a very different way. I think that is the biggest muscle that we can develop, which will help us in our growth. That's one point. Second point is I also want to share my compliments to the GHRD organization. 30 years ago when I began, there were no organizations like this. A lot of us, at least myself, we ended up in HR because maybe by accident, we didn't really know that there is something called HR. So the service being done by this organization to spread the good word about HR as a discipline, I think it really needs to be complimented. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Simin?
Yes, so for the youngsters in this, you're hearing us, I think what is most important for you to understand is that business models are rapidly changing. It is no longer the same sort of approach that HR had, and we need to be more data oriented and more relying on data and numbers rather than just, our own, understanding of what things are. So for you, I think it is very important for you to understand and become more analytical in your approaches, use data to provide answers to whatever is the business asking you. So that is, I think, going to be different.
Wonderful. Sahil, your closing remarks?
Sure. I think two parts. One, all the youngsters out there, being a millennial myself, I would definitely recommend challenge status quo. But a huge but in 72 font with bold, underline, do it respectfully and do it assertively. Don't do it arrogantly, because what will happen is people who've been there and who've done stuff, of course, there's a reason, of course, there's a context. The moment arrogance comes in and you ask too many questions without giving answers, it won't work. So whenever you're thinking of something of challenging status quo, understand the lay of the land, also try and evaluate what could be the potential solutions and not just ask questions of why is this like this, why is this not working, but this doesn't make sense. Think of 5 other answers that could potentially work and work with a solution mindset as you challenge status quo.
Thank you. Thank you, Sahil. I'm very happy to see the founder here, Srinivas Garu. Welcome. We're very happy to be with you on this panel. Here is Sahil, Jairam, Simin, and Siddharth. Soumya, can you put on your video on? Yeah. Who has got a good camera? They can take a photo. All panelists and the founder and the chief organizer. Okay. So I'm supposed to sum it up. Now, see, very difficult. So I'll only wrote down, what I have learned instead of summing up. One thing I said is when you talk about employee, it is whole employee. It is not just one part of employee or one aspect of his need. The second is it is neo-normal, a little bit of integration, little bit of hybrid, and excellence is contextual. It's not that we have done it, oh, it's over. No. Maybe something else is required. Some other organizational need will happen. Some other employee need will happen. We'll have to cater to that, go on improving. And probably the best test of an employee experience is, are you able to help him to become his best version? I think that is the highest benefit an employee would seek from an organization, particularly from HR. Are you enabling him, empowering him, and doing that one? And the sensitization that bit came, and trust came out very strongly. I think HR probably trust is something, it's like an hygiene, no? that should be taken for granted. When I'm talking to an HR person, he's trustworthy. When I'm listening something, he's saying something, he's giving me feedback, he's giving addition, so that earns the trustworthiness. Then you have the trust in the organization and make people trustworthy. And strongly came is digitalization. You must welcome. Don't consider the challenge. Use it for speed. Use it for accuracy. Use it for convenience. Use it for integration. Use it for good reasons. And Uberization. And the last one is be effective, but a little amount of respect. That's very, very important, because we are dealing with human beings. And Soumya, in his introduction, he tried to say that HR will be at the center stage with two things: humaneness and resilience. One is business, one is compassion. So that we should always continue. I think I'll stop here. We will ask the audience, whatever you have picked up, you can write in the chat box. We will save the chat history. We are not able to unmute all of you, not able to take your feedback, but you can write in the chat box one thing you have learned, one takeaway. That will be so nice of you. Over to Soumya. Thank you so much. I have to thank my panelists, wonderful panelists, very lot of value adds, lot of insights, and answered all questions. And we also together maintained the time, that agility, and we were assertive in our answers with a lot of respect. Thank you so much. Over to Soumya.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. I think very inspiring. I think audience also has really learned. Those who are new, they have learned many new things. Those who are seasoned, they have got a new picture and a new face. And it was a good discussion all around the new norms that we have done. I have a small experience in this time that as an HR, the best part is in the old norm, we would have only touched the employee in terms of experience, trust, and all that. This two pandemic cycles that we had, we have touched the family now. So now the commitment of HR is deep into the family of the employees. So if I remember, not less than 20 or 30 people I met or employees I met came with their parents to my office just to say thanks. Because someone, they were working from home, someone were in Delhi, they wanted a bed in the hospital. So since I am an ex-Manipalite, I could call up Manipal Hospital and arrange a bed for them. So then we have a GHRD network. I will tell you that GHRD network also has a GHRD health network, where we have hospitals, people working in the hospitals also in the group. So massive work was done through that group also, wherein anyone wanted any help anywhere, we have extended help through this group to them, whether it is Manipal, whether it is Apollo, anywhere. Rather, I have benefited a lot because any of my employee whose parents were in other places, I have taken the help to get beds and oxygen, medicines in Vizag or Vijayawada or any other place or Hyderabad. We have taken a lot of help. So I think we have really taken a center stage, and the trust also has really grown and got deep into it. I think the employees will remember us for the kind of service we have done. And we are also now feeling proud of ourselves, because sometimes we also talk to each other, what are we doing? So now I think we are proud of us that yes, we have done a lot, and we will keep doing such kind of things, and the great emotional connect that we have done to people. Thank you everyone for this wonderful, insightful session. Really, on a personal ground, I learned a lot from all of you. Thank you, Srinivas sir, for creating such a wonderful group. I think every step we are growing under your leadership. Thank you so much. On this 50th meet and completing the 5 years, I would take another 15 minutes to acknowledge some of our guides, some of our mentors, some of our friends and facilitators. We have some online certificates and awards to be given. I will just display them and to inform that we will send the hard copy of the certificates by courier to each one of you. So I will just display the certificates to all of you and read out.
Soumya, do we have the option of leaving? I'm just asking people.
Sir, if you have any,
I'm just saying,
anything,
if the time permits.
If time permits, please continue. It's our request. Otherwise,
that's what I'm saying.
So you can take a call, sir.
Yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of everybody.
Yeah, sir, please stay on.
Please stay on. Otherwise, you are free to exit.
So I'll drop off in a few minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
that's what I said. So that
Sir, please
I-
your call. No
I
problem.
have earned the right. We'll see whether we use it or not.
Sir, you have all the rights, sir.
Okay, Soumya.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would like to leave. Thanks
Okay.
a lot.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
sir.
connecting, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Carry on, Soumya.
Yeah, sir. So to start with, we are giving the first award of GHRD National Employee Welfare and Benefits Award, and we are presenting this to the Vasant Chemicals Private Limited. Our sincere thanks to the organization, those who have helped us in growing, and our thanks to Mr. GKB Chaudhary, the chairman of Vasant Chemicals, for helping us out. We have our senior member, Mr. Dakshinamurthy, who is working as the HR head here. And thanks to him, who has been a constant guide and mentor to GHRD's growth. This is for you, sir. So we would like to acknowledge your leadership in the HR fraternity, and we would like to give you the GHRDN National HR Leadership Award.
Oh,
So, GP Rao, sir.
oh,
Sir.
so nice of you. I never thought. No expectation. Huh?
Sir, thank you so much, sir. You have been always a leader. Every time you have shown us the right way to grow.
Thank you so much. I accept with a lot of people.
Thank you, sir. Our next National HR Leadership Award goes to my beloved friend and guide, Mr. Sahil Nair, Senior Associate Director, KPMG. Sahil, sir, thank you so much.
Hi, Sahil.
Thank you so much for this.
Sahil. Congratulations, Sahil. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
will
so
send
much,
you by
Soumya.
courier.
Thank you,
Thank
GP.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next HR Leadership Award goes to our Siddharthan, sir, from Dalmia. Then the National HR Leadership Award for our Jairam, sir, President and Global CHRO, Glenmark. Madam Simin from DS Group. This is HR Excellence, National HR Excellence Award in Innovation, and this goes to Mr. Praveen Gupta, General Manager HR for DMart. Congratulations. National, again, the Excellence Award in the field of innovation goes to Mr. G.S. Srinivas, Head of HR of KCP Group. HR Excellence Award in Employee Experience, we would like to give it to Mr. MVSM Kiran, Director HR for Novotel. This is Vizag. GHRDN HR Leadership Award, we would like to give it to Mr. S.S. Sasikant, CEO of STSL. HR Leadership Award to Dr. Padmakshi, CEO of Smiles. HR Excellence Award in Employee Experience goes to Dr. Suresh, Vice President HR of Wipro. HR Excellence Award goes to Dr. Nagendra Kumar, CEO of Mindtree KKD. HR Excellence Award in Employee Experience goes to Ms. Reena Gupta, Head of HR from Bhadra International. Again, in Employee Experience, HR Excellence Award goes to Mr. Sundar Rao, Group Head HR, TV9. HR Excellence Award in Innovation goes to Mr. V. Chandrasekhar, Vice President HR, Varun Group. National HR Excellence Award in Employee Relations goes to Mr. Sridhar, Senior GM, HR and IR, ARBL. National HR Excellence Award in Employee Experience goes to Mr. Debabrata Das, Vice President HR, MSPL Group. In Employee Experience, again, Mr. Devasis Ghosh, Vice President HR from Barcadia. National HR Leadership Award goes to Mr. Mayank Rautela, CHRO of KR Group. HR Excellence Award in Education to Mr. Manish Gupta, Professor and Additional Registrar and in charge for HR for Lovely Professional University, Fagwada, Punjab. HR Excellence Award in Education for Mr. Kumuda Ranjan Panda, Director of Evonsis. Then again in Employee Relations, the HR Excellence Award for S.V. Ramachandra Rao, Founder of HR Chambers. HR Excellence Award in Education for Mr. Venkateshwar Rao Alaparthi, Associate Vice President, Indian Institute of Management, IIM Ahmedabad. GHRDN again, HR Excellence Award in Employee Experience to Mr. Nitish Raj Victor, Head of HR, GMR Goa International Airport. HR Excellence Award for Mr. Srinivas Rao, CEO of VSR. HR Excellence Award in Employee Relations to Dr. V. Sheshagiri Rao, Head of HR, Adani Groups. HR Leadership Award to R. Karunakaran, Group Head HR, Hyundai Motors. HR Excellence Award in Employee Experience to Mr. Mohan, GM HR, Breaks India. HR Excellence Award in Employee Relations to Mr. Niranjan Rao, Advocate. He has been a constant guide for our group, sir, in terms of employee relations also. HR Excellence Award in Networking goes to Mr. Ashish Gakre, founder of HR Shepherds. We all know, and the whole country knows him, that he is one of the best in networking. So this is for you, Ashish. HR Excellence Award in Education to our guide, Dr. Virendra Singh, who has been a mentor to many of the senior leaders in HR. HR Excellence Award in Networking to Mr. Saurish Bandyopadhyay, Associate Vice President, Max Life Insurance Corporation from Calcutta. HR Excellence Award in Networking goes to Mr. Siddharth Pandey, Chief Mentor of HRD India. This is for you, Siddharth. Great work. GHRDN external support that we have been getting, some of our great supporters, Dr. Reddy Foundation, with whom we have been working all these years, Geetham University, Guru Nanak University, and ICFI University, Facility Management Association of India. We have tied up with them and we are also contributing in those areas. They are also helping us out. These are those young dynamic volunteers and members of the group who have been giving or who have been actively participating in all the activities of the group, whether it is online or we have been meeting physically. So for internal support, the award goes to Mr. C.H. Nagaraju, Mr. Basu, Mr. Kanta Rao, Mr. Allu Chaitanya, Ms. Garima Gupta, Bharati Indraganti, Lavanya, Divakar, Dr. Suma. These are the series of awards that we have. We will share the certificates with all of you. Thank you so much and congratulations to all who have won these awards and certificates. Again, on this 50th webinar and completing the 5th year, I thank to all the senior HR professionals of the country and abroad who have made GHRD so successful. Sincere thanks to all the members of the group who have been constantly helping us in organizing webinars, seminars across the country. Last but not the least, a great thanks to Gopalam sir, Srinivas Gopalam sir, the founder of the group. With his leadership and vision, we have been growing every day. Thank you so much, sir, for all the effort that you have done. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, GP Rao, sir, for all your help in conducting the session so well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.